AllBall TV.
They scared, but I'm not.
They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.
Yeah. Fabian perspective.
Fabian!
I just want to talk about this Nipsey Hussle thing, man. Let's get right into that. We're in the news. It's the latest news. His brother, Black Sam. All that stuff hits close to home. I don't know if you guys saw, but his brother, Nipsey Hussle, God bless his dad, his brother was recently talking to Big Boy, who, you know, he's a big-time West Coast radio legend. But Nipsey Hussle's brother sat down with him, Black Sam, and apparently he confirmed what was already on the internet, that Big U, who was, I don't even know if he's Nipsey Hussle's OG, but Big U was, you know, a prominent dude in the West Coast, or at least according to Whack 100, they made up his position as a prominent guy on the West Coast. But I think there's a lot of videos and documented information out there that these guys just hold a lot of weight in the music industry. And we know about Nipsey Hussle getting murdered or getting unalived, as you guys say on these internets. I'm just in not a deep thought, but thinking about the whole scenario with Black Sam is basically confirming that Big U was supposed to be the OG to Nipsey Hussle, had something to do with his brother Nipsey Hussle being unalive, being, you know, untimely taken off the earth. It shows you just so many things about what's happening in life in general on earth, that reality has never changed. We're all humans. It doesn't matter what walk of life, what color you are, what race you are, what ethnicity, what culture you represent. But in hip-hop, it's different because it's the only genre of music that this is a repetitive thing where someone's always being unalived and someone's always untimely passing. This is another reminder of, just like you hear all these guys on the West Coast, it's just, you hear it all the time. And it seems to be just a part of the way of life over there. You see the street culture that's played out in front of the camera. And back in the day, from any little research you can do, you can see that the mob was running, the Italian mafia, they were running the music industry, as well as some of the Jewish mafias. So it's always been kind of always been gangster behind the scenes. But never did you see them playing it out in public, right? Like Sinatra was the closest thing that we saw to that, portraying it and being like this ill dude on camera, but he was affiliated. And we never really saw anything close to gangster-ish on camera. Maybe what people don't point to is, like, let's say the JFK assassination, right? That was a lot of ties to the CIA and the mob. Unofficially, officially, depending on what you do on the internet. And with rap, you see so many high-profile guys who could run for the president of rap or hip-hop during their respective peaks. You know, Nipsey Hussle is in line with a lot of these guys, in my opinion. And he was just starting to really come of age. I think he was nominated for a Grammy. He didn't win, but he was nominated for the Grammy Award for his album. And it's just, I don't think it could ever stop. It's never gonna stop. I just saw a video with Poetic Flacco, and he was reporting or talking about the same thing. Black Sam confirming that Big U was a part of Nipsey Hussle's assassination. And Whack 100 stays on the internet going at it with Big U. Now they're adversaries, right? So you gotta believe any authority figures are tapping into this. If you have street ties, they're all tied into it. But Poetic Flacco was going over it. And it's funny because when you listen to a guy like Poetic Flacco, he's like another Academics. You can see the Academics' offspring come out on this. Because when you listen to them talk and they interact with just the internet and the way they speak, is just, you could tell just the geekiness behind them. Like, I don't know if they could fight, if Academics or Poetic Flacco could fight. I will never underestimate anyone, but you can see even in the way they report things, there's a naivete to them. They're very naive, in my opinion, especially Academics. And that style of reporting is gonna be a reporter. You would expect the guy who, let's say, when Taxstone was out, he would be very honest and critical. I'm not sure how he would have talked about this scenario, but it wouldn't have been with the same delivery as a Poetic Flacco or Academics, because there's just a street dialect to Taxstone that was different. Even shout out to Zip with the Drip. You can tell obviously he's just been in the street, and usually they reserve a certain rawness because they may be affiliated, and because of the fact that they may know about the consequence behind certain words. So a lot of times they'll be raw and honest with certain people, especially before knowing them, because once you get to know them, there's a certain respect you have to have just in life in general. And you can see it play out with Poetic Flacco, he doesn't come off like a street dude. So let's say, for argument's sake, he's not a street dude. He still goes down the same path of affiliation and respecting someone through affiliation. So I've seen Poetic Flacco on No Jumper before, and you can still see him in this clip just reserve himself from being too raw, because even he said he's met Big U and a couple of gentlemen that were involved in this scenario, and even he doesn't feel like going too raw, because I feel like he met them already. And it's just, I don't know if they owe him favors. I don't know if they're cool like that, but that affiliation playing out in real time just allows him from being his true, honest self.
I want to preface this by saying I've met Big U in person and I've met Loose Cannon in person, and both men have been completely gracious to me and nice to me. So I'm not picking sides. I'm not going to tell you guys which theory I believe, which theory I don't believe. I'm going to let you guys make up your own decision on who you want to believe. So it was definitely premeditated, but premeditated doesn't always mean others were involved. And at this point, I don't feel like we would ever know the answer to that for sure. And I don't even think I want the answer. Listen, I don't want the answer to that, right? Like, I don't. I want to preface this by saying I've met Big U in person. I've met Big U in person. I've met Big U in person. I've met Big U in person.
And you can see that familiarity, all these things are just a natural way to prevent information from coming out and being confirmed from those close to it. So it's not just a street thing, right? And it played out before where you see Puffy's going, they're leaning towards locking him up for Tupac's assassination, and allegedly he plotted against Pac, and that information has like been known for a long time. I've heard about this from back then. It was nothing new to me. I just don't get it. But that's what lends us to believe, Puffy's part of the Illuminati and they're done with him. He owes them a favor. But the point is, even in that scenario, you had a lot of people. You see Gene Deal online, and you had a lot of people who knew a lot, and they're not willing to say a lot of things. And this people keep referring to the street code, and it's like there's a familiarity code as well, because it even has reporters like Poetic Flacco stopping himself from really wanting to say what he wanted to say. So I think that's really the point of this video, is nothing ever changes. You can see like nothing will ever change because we're all human, and I'm always going to point to that. It's unfortunate, and it was crazy with just how it doesn't change no matter how much information we have, no matter how much you think this person being in this position, they're not going to do that. And again, this is just all speculation, but it also shows you that it's 25, it's about to be 30 years in 2 years. In 2026, it will be 30 years since Tupac died. And in 2027, it'll be 30 years since Biggie died. And the same things are occurring. And it wasn't like they didn't know what was going on in the West Coast, because they were affiliated with their own ways. And neither one of them are from LA. Tupac or Biggie, neither one of them are from LA. And they both died in the West Coast through gang ties from Los Angeles. That's how real that thing is. And it's clearly not moving and evolving to a more evolved, just political system where how do you funnel the talent? How do you get your people out from these situations? Because they can't be in that same territory anymore, because it'll be a war forever. You see it on the other side of the world through religion. These guys are going to be at war forever because they have their own oath to their own higher powers. And it's the same thing with gangs. The leaders will have to just change the direction, but there's so much money involved in having that much power. How can you really change all that? If I'm affiliated through the money, my power is muscle and ensuring your protection to be able to perform in Los Angeles, checking in, all this extra stuff. And it hasn't changed, and I don't know if I want to say it's gotten worse, but there's definitely so many bodies that piled up. It's unfortunate, man. God bless the dead. Hope everybody just, if you're alive and well, man, just stick to the script. Work hard, come up with a plan, list your 5 passions and run with it, man. And stay away from these goddamn streets. Fabian! For real. AllBall TV. They scared, but I'm not. They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.